Hello, my name is Kathy O'Reilly. Thank you so much for joining us today. So just to double check you're in the right place, as it were, this is the information session on the MSc in Management Consultancy. So for the next 15 minutes or so, I'm going to talk you through some of the unique aspects of the program and a little bit more about how it works, what to expect from it so that you can make an informed decision should you decide to apply to the MSc in Management Consultancy. So again, I'm Kathleen O'Reilly. I'm the academic director of the program, and I've been delighted to be involved with this program since way back in 2002. And I'm happy to take you through these few slides today to tell you a little bit more about the program. So if we look at what the management consulting program is all about. So the Masters in Consulting, the idea behind it is that, as the name might imply, it's preparing people for a career as a management consultant. So as we know, management consultants are advisors for companies. A really simple way of understanding what a management consultant does is to think of them as doctors for companies. So when there's something wrong in a company, management consultants come in to help figure out what the problem is and to find a way to fix it and get that company operating again, or back to health, as it were. But consultants are also there to help companies to find new opportunities, basically to do things better or faster or that they couldn't do before. So that's just a brief little summary about what management consultants do. So what we did when we designed this master's, the idea was that we would prepare students to work in the field of management consulting. So part of doing this course, or one of the aspects of doing this particular MSc program, is that it'll expose you to a range of frameworks and tools and techniques that management consultants use in their everyday work. It will also enhance your ability to think strategically and to understand the different steps of the consulting process. So when you're working with a company, what are the different tools and frameworks you can use for analysis to help them to figure out kind of what's going on in the organization. The strategic thinking is an important part of it too, because you really have to be able to engage with the organization and figure out what the problem is and how to solve it. One of the ways that we do this is that we use live consulting projects. This is a very experiential, hands-on kind of course. So it's all about learning by doing. The best way to learn how to be a management consultant is to be a management consultant. So to do real consulting projects for real clients. And we'll see more on that in a minute. But what that also introduces you to is not just what it feels like to work with a company and solve problems, but also how to manage the kind of relationship side of things, the client relationship piece of consulting as well. Because that's an important aspect of consulting. It's not enough just to be a really smart person who can solve problems. You also need to be a great communicator. And we'll see as we go through that all those aspects, those two very different aspects of consulting, are covered within the course. So what can you expect from the program? So in terms of the course structure, it's broken down into 3 trimesters. So we use the whole academic year. Trimester 1, it has 3 core modules that everybody completes. So we have management consulting principles, which I'll tell you more about in a minute, competitive and corporate strategy, and organizational behavior. So in addition to management consulting principles, which will introduce you to the whole field of management consulting, you'll also complete a course in competitive and corporate strategy. That's an essential area for a consultant to be knowledgeable about. And again, through the use of case studies and analytical tools, you'll learn all about corporate strategy and how it contributes to the competitive advantage of a firm. The other piece, as you see there, is organizational behavior. Again, if you're going to be a management consultant, you're always working with people. So it's really important that you understand what makes people tick, what motivates them, and how to get the best performance out of them. And that's what organizational behavior is all about. So you can see that in that first trimester, you're learning some of the key knowledge areas that consultants really need to have an understanding of to do their job effectively. So in addition to management consulting principles, which is specific to the industry, we have strategy and we have organizational behavior. Trimester 2, we go from talking and learning about management consulting to actually doing a project, and I'll show you more on that in a minute. Plus, you complete another core subject called managing organizational change. That's another important subject for a consultant to know a lot about, Because again, when you're working with companies to help them to do things better or differently or that they couldn't do before, you're always working with people, and you're probably getting them to ask, you're asking them to do something a little bit differently, to change how they do things. So that change piece is really important. You need to understand how to get people on board with organizational change. You are then open to choose an elective subject from across the MSc curriculum. So you might decide to do a course in finance or technology or entrepreneurship or another area that you find might be of interest to you. Then in the third trimester, which is the summer term, you do one more core module, which is project management, obviously an essential skill for a management consultant. So you need to deliver on the projects that you work with your client on. You need to understand about project budgets and timelines and all the different aspects of project management. And then once that module is completed, at the beginning of the term, you're then free to choose either to do an internship, a summer consulting project, or a research paper. So you have three options, and they're all very hands-on. So obviously there's a traditional internship. That's a very competitive process, of course, but many students have been able to get summer internships. We also do summer consulting projects, which are another opportunity for you to get real hands-on experience working with a company on a consulting project, or you can decide to do a research paper in an area that's of interest to you. Okay, I want to focus for a minute on the real experiential aspects of this program, because this is what really sets it apart from some other programs. So as we mentioned, in the first trimester, we do management consulting principles, which not only introduces you to the consulting industry and the different tools and techniques and frameworks that consultants use to be successful, but also you get your first taste of working with a real client on a real consulting project, because students complete what we call our company clinics. You do a quick 2-week project in a group of about 5 or 6 people, and you work with a small or medium-sized Irish business to help them solve a problem. So that's your first taste of working with a real client on a real consulting project right in the very first term. In the second term, that's followed up with diagnostic techniques in consulting. This is the real flagship module, I believe, of this whole program. This is a project-based course where students complete a 12-week consulting project for a big consulting firm. I'll show you who we're working with this year in a minute on our next slide, and you can see how impressive that client list is. But you're able then to apply your consulting tools and techniques that you learned in the first term onto a real project with a big client. And you'll be working very closely with them. So in a lot of ways, you'll be getting the benefits of an internship type engagement, i.e. working very closely with a big consulting firm for a 12-week period on a project, again, in a team of 5 or 6 people. So you see right away that this master's program is quite hands-on. We engage directly in industry. We do real projects for real clients. We also do things like case study analysis, and we use textbooks. We have the academic side, but that academic side is balanced with this very practical, real-world, industry-focused side. These are the clients who the current class is working with on their projects. So we currently have a very large class, and they're all working. We have about 13 different projects running right now. So some of those clients have given us a couple of projects to work on. And you can see right away all the big, the really big 4 consulting firms are represented there: EY, PwC, Deloitte, KPMG, all those big names you know. And then other names you might not be familiar with yet, but you will get to know on the program. Great companies like Grant Thornton, Bearing Point, BDO, Eaton Square. And then on the bottom there, we have some more kind of specialist firms. We have Parva Consulting, which is a specialist financial services consulting firm, kind of a real boutique little firm. We also have Prospectus, which is an Irish owned and operated strategy consulting firm. And we have the company Qualtrics. So that's, again, a very different aspect of projects to kind of work on a company like Qualtrics, a very new, young, and dynamic company. So that just gives you a taste for the types of projects or the types of clients you'll be able to work with as part of the program. Getting back to that third trimester, so after you complete your diagnostic techniques project in trimester 2, you then have the option of choosing what you do in the summer. First, you do your project management core module, which is delivered in condensed format over 2 to 3 weeks. And then, as I mentioned earlier, once you've done that, you're free to choose to do either an internship, a consulting project, or a research paper. The internships are mostly self-sourced by students. purely because that's such a competitive space. Way back when we started this program, we were one of the only programs offering internships. That number has gone up significantly. And there's huge demand now, right across, not just in the Smurfit School, but kind of really everywhere for internships. So some of those internships are self-sourced by students. Some might come through academic director, me, or maybe through the careers office. And then, like I said, you can also choose to work on a summer consulting project. So again, working with another company on a real consulting project that they have, or you can choose to do a research paper. So you can choose any of those three. And of course, I will be on hand to advise you which of those might be the best option for you. So again, when you're thinking about the Master's in Management Consulting, I'm sure some of you are looking at other potential MSc programs here at Smurfit also. And really, you can't go wrong at the Smurfit School. Any Smurfit School program is going to give you a great qualification and great recognition in the marketplace when you have that Smurfit qualification behind you. But of course, I'm here as the academic director for the MSc in Management Consulting. So let's look at what makes us a little bit special or a little bit different from some of the other MSCs you might be looking at. So I've mentioned already how industry focused we are. So here's a little bit more on that. We have some great professional partnerships in the consulting industry. For one, PwC sponsors our program in that the top student every year based on GPA, so the highest graduating GPA gets a gold medal, and it is an actual gold medal from PwC, and you also get a bursary, which I think at the moment is about 500 euros or so. So that's how much they value our program, is that they sponsor a prize for our top student. Secondly, all students on the Master's in Management Consulting become student members of the IMCA, which is the Institute of Management Consultants and Advisors. And that's the professional body here in Ireland that represents the management consulting industry. So that's a great opportunity to go to their events, to network, to make connections that would be useful to you in terms of getting to know the industry. In the middle there, a little reminder of the great companies who we work with on a regular basis, both for our consulting projects in diagnostic techniques and also for internships and summer consulting projects. So you can see we have great representation and a wonderful network. That's not even all the companies who are connected with. That's just a little sample of them, but we're very well respected in the consulting industry, and we have a great network of contacts and companies who we work with on a regular basis. So that's another thing that sets us apart, that industry connection and that industry focus. Finally, on the right-hand side, we have been recognized globally as an excellent program. So just a few months ago, Edu Opinions published a list of the best business schools for consulting, and we were in there, which was great. We'd never been included in that list before, so it was a great achievement for us. We were all very proud. And it just shows that we've put a lot of attention into this program. We've really shaped it to make sure it's relevant and useful and practical. And that now has been recognized outside of Ireland on this global list, alongside the likes of INSEAD, London School of Economics, London Business School, like all these amazing schools, basically. We're right there on that list for best business schools for consulting because of our MSc in Management Consulting. So again, that should give you an indication of how this particular master's is different from the others. You still have a strong academic grounding in your modules such as strategy, organizational behavior, managing change, project management, but that's balanced with a very practical side in terms of the opportunity to work with real companies on real consulting projects. We also bring in a number of guest speakers from the industry. We have alumni who are working in the consulting sector to come back and talk to you guys, giving you insights into careers in consulting and what their experience of consulting has been. So it's a very rich and diverse way of learning. But most of all, it's a hands-on way of learning. So you learn by doing. And that's, I think, what makes us a little bit different and a little bit special compared to some of the other Smurfit School programs. So just to remind you, our website has the most up-to-date information on all of our MSc programs, including the MSc in Management Consultancy. You're obviously familiar with that website because you're here online, so that's great. Have a little look around the website to find out more information. Of course, if you have any inquiries, our admissions team would be happy to help you. We actually have Patrick online with us for our Q&A session to answer any admissions-related questions you might have today or to direct you to further information. And of course, if you're interested in any of our scholarship programs, You can also find out more information on those on the web link you see there. So the Smurfit School website /admissions/scholarships. So now I would be happy to lead a question and answer session. So what I'll do is I'll stop my screen share if that's okay. And we will then go into our questions and answers. I'm joined for that by my wonderful program manager, Joy O'Hora, who's been by my side, helping me with the Management Consulting MSc for a long time now. We're a great partnership. And as I mentioned, we also have Patrick Smith from our admissions team.
Thank you so much, Kathy. And thank you for a wonderful information session for our students, not just about the program, but about the industry in general. So thank you very much. It was fascinating. I just have a couple of questions here. Great question here from Louis Tran. What's the difference between strategy consulting and management consulting? I'm not sure. I think maybe
that's a really good question, Louis. They're the same thing. Strategy consulting is a stream of management consulting, Louis. So if you think about management consulting, there are so many different diverse streams of advice and expertise that management consultants can provide for companies. So for example, if you want to see how diverse that is, if you were to go on the website of say Deloitte or PwC and click into their service lines, you'll see they offer such a diverse range of services to their clients in all different sectors and industries. So some of that would be strategy consulting. Some of it might be much more specific in terms of maybe supply chain consulting, digital transformation. It's very diverse. So strategy consulting is a stream within management consulting. Although to be honest, really, I believe all consulting has to do with strategy, because anything you advise your clients to do or to do differently or that they didn't do before, that's all going to impact on their strategy anyway. But I guess officially, strategy consulting is a stream within the overall industry of management consulting.
Thank you so much, Kathy. And that flows very nicely into my next question from Stephen Mulvey. How do you rate this pathway into consulting against, for example, studying economics or other quantitative degrees that seem to be popular today?
Stephen, that's a really good question. I think the advantage that this program has is that you will learn the tools and techniques and frameworks that consultants use, but especially you'll get the chance to already apply them. And it means, Stephen, that when you do join a consulting firm, you're able to hit the ground running. I know that's a cliche, but it's true in this case, that you'll be able to immediately understand what the work is, how to approach it, how to get stuck into a consulting project. And that's going to give you an advantage versus someone who hasn't studied consulting before. And I see that time and time again. I see the graduates who completed my MSc in consultancy advance that a little bit more quickly through, for example, a graduate program. They might move through those levels more quickly. Or if they come in as an experienced hire, they might find that they are promoted more quickly because they have that base of understanding, having done the master's in consulting.
That's wonderful, Kathy. Thank you so much. And a question for Patrick, please. Is there any way to get into this course if you just missed a 2-1?
Absolutely. So typically, we do look for a 2-1 honors bachelor's degree, typically in fields ranging from business, economics, law. But like Kathy was mentioning, consultancy is all about diverse fields, diverse perspectives. So we do welcome applicants from different fields. If you are just below a 2-1, we definitely recommend sending in an application, because a lot of these applications can be supported by, if you have professional experience or a unique background. We're always looking for a diverse range of students with different perspectives and different backgrounds. So I definitely would recommend sending in an application if you're just below that 2-1 application cutoff.
And I can add to that. Can I add to that a bit, Joy? What I would say to you, if you do maybe just miss it on a 2-1, for everyone, but especially if your grades, your GPA is maybe a little bit lower than you expected, put some time and some thought into your applications. And when we ask you questions like, why do you want to do the program? Why are you interested in management consulting? Really put some time and thought into that. Because if we would ever have a borderline decision case, we really look at those applications. We really look at what people have said about why they want to do the course. And you can really make yourself stand out if you take that time. And Joy, can I just get into Sarah's question? So Sarah had a question about whether you can complete the internship outside of
yes, thank you.
Yeah, you can, Sarah. Yeah, 100%. We definitely have people complete their internships outside of Dublin. We've had people complete them in the US, in Canada, in Germany. I think we had someone where we've had lots of different places, Dubai, China. So yes, the short answer is yes. I could give you a very long answer by naming all these wonderful places and the kind of internships they did. But the short answer is yes, you absolutely can. As long as we've approved the internship, that's absolutely a possibility.
That's fantastic. Thanks so much. I think I saw a question there about the closing date for applications there, Patrick. Would you, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. So we do offer rolling admissions. So technically, you can apply, in the spring and sometimes early summer. However, a lot of these courses are highly sought after, very competitive. So we do recommend applying as soon as you're able. So once you have your transcript, if you're still a student, we do issue conditional offers. So, if you have all your documents, if you have your letters of reference, we definitely advise applying sooner rather than later, just to ensure your spot on the course.
That's absolutely fantastic. Thanks so much, Patrick. And thank you so much, Kathy. We're all, I'm here, joy.o'hora@ucd.ie. If you have any further questions about the program, and also Patrick, of course, as well. Thank you all so much.
Question there that came up about how long on campus per week in taught lectures / workshops. And what I would say there is, again, we're living in this funny kind of hybrid world right now. But if we say, remember back to pre-COVID when we could all be on campus, each of your modules is about 3 hours long in terms of class time, but don't let that fool you. So officially you have 3-hour modules each week. So you might think, oh, that's only 9 hours. That's only the classroom time. That's all I'll say there. Preparation for those classes is very, there's a lot of work in that in terms of your readings, in terms of your group work. So it's hard to put an actual number on the hours, but it is significant. Like it's a master's program, and you will be expected to contribute significantly because it is that master's level qualification. You'll have a lot of reading to do. You'll have a lot of assessment and projects, individual work, group work. So you really need to be committed in terms of your timing. Okay. Obviously, if it's more of a hybrid situation, some online, some even with the online teaching, I think you'll find my students this year, there's still a significant time commitment, even with the classes being online. Okay.
That's fantastic. That's so helpful, Kathy.
Could I just mention also to Stephen Mulvey, because he was saying that he has to make a decision soon. And
yeah.
So if he wants to get in touch with me, Stephen, I'm kathleen.o'reilly@ucd.ie. I can maybe pop it in the chat, my email.
That'd be great.
I can't email all the guys, but what I'll do is I'm just going to type an answer to you, Stephen. Okay.
And Patrick, can Stephen delay his decision? He's due to make his decision tomorrow. He's going to maybe have a chat or an email with Kathy. What's the deadline? Is there a deadline for the decision?
Absolutely. Yeah, we can extend that, Stephen. I'll also just make a note and put my email in the chat too. So absolutely, we're happy to
talk to you also, Stephen. If you want to reach out to me, I'm happy to answer any questions. I could even put you in touch with a current student if that would help. That's no problem. Jack has a question there. Is it mostly continuous assessment or exams? It is mostly continuous assessment, Jack. Again, for this level of qualification for master's level, it's not always the best way to examine people by a traditional exam. I think this year's students in the first trimester had one exam and the other 2 modules were fully continuous assessment. So it does lean more heavily toward continuous assessment, which of course means project work. And that can be individual work that you do yourself, and that can be work that you do as part of a project team or a group. So definitely the majority of the work that you will do or the modules that you take will be assessed by a continuous assessment rather than a traditional exam. Although some of them, small amount of them, may have an exam. But the majority of them will be continuous assessment.
Fantastic, Kathy. Thank you so much. I think we've answered all the questions. I think, is that it?
Yeah, look at us all on time. We're like 5 minutes to go. Look at that. So we can certainly stay on for that 5 minutes and see if anyone has any further questions. While y'all are thinking to see if you have any more questions, I just want to reiterate again, it's a very practical course. It's very hands-on. You absolutely will know what it's like to be a consultant and work as a consultant while you're here on this program. Some people decide after doing the course, I don't want to be a management consultant after all. And they might go and join a graduate program somewhere else or work, in a company. That's fine. But the great thing is consulting is always something you can go back to. So some people decide that after the program, they might go and get some work experience for 3 years or 5 years and then go into consulting. Or some people do it the other way around. Some people go into consulting straight out of the program, and then they decide in 5 or 6 years that they want to go and work in industry. So either way, you're going to learn a lot of skills that are very much transferable to the workplace. You're going to be working directly with some really great companies. And like I said, you're going to get that hands-on experience balanced with a great academic qualification also.
That's fantastic, Kathy. And also just to note as well, we have a fantastic careers team, and they work really in tandem with the program as well. So they'll be keeping in contact with you. And even before you come on board, you get the opportunity to upload your CV, and they take a look at it through VMOC. And so from the very start, it's all about your career. It's pretty career focused.
Yeah, it is. And we have good connections. Again, we have so many alumni in consulting firms here in Dublin that's great for our employment prospects after the program as well. We have alumni in all of the big consulting firms. And actually, the students who are working on their consulting projects this term, a lot of them are working with alumni from those companies on their consulting projects. So it's just great to see that. It's great to see the kind of network, not only of great companies that we have, but also of super alumni who are doing really well in the consulting industry and are very good about coming back to the program to talk to you guys and about staying in touch and giving you advice and helping you out.
Yeah. You also have the opportunity to become a class ambassador, where you represent the views of your class, and you get to meet with Kathy and I, once or twice a trimester. So that's a really nice role to add to your CV as well.
Yeah, and then of course you have the whole Smurfit School alumni network, which is really extensive right across the globe. So it's all good, but it's especially good if you do the MSc in Management Consulting.
Yeah, and it's also fun. It's fun, they have fun, and they're a great team, great group of students.
Yeah. So I think I'd just like to say to everybody, thank you so much for joining us for this information session, and I hope you found it worthwhile. And like we said, if you have any questions, you can certainly contact Patrick or Joy or myself, and we'd be happy to help you. Again, you might find it useful for me to maybe put you in touch with a current student on the program. And don't forget as well, you can do it full-time or part-time. You can do it full-time over 1 year, or you can do it part-time over 2. So again, if you have any questions around that, feel free to reach out, and I will either answer your questions, or Patrick or Joy, or we could, like I said, maybe put you in touch with a current student. That might be helpful too.
Thank you so much. And thank you all to all our participants this afternoon as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.